added no pieces. However, they did lose their starting left tackle in Nate Solder. Their one-time starting corner in Malcolm Butler, one of Brady's go-to guys in Danny Amendola, and their leading rusher in Lewis. All right, Nick, I'll start with you. Which of the Patriots' losses do you think of those I mentioned is most significant?
Well, I can discount almost immediately Lewis and Danny Amendola, not because those aren't good players, but I have seen the Patriots repeatedly and continually at those positions, wide receiver and running back, interchange guys. New guy, Wes Welker's amazing, and then we find Danny Amendola. Like Lewis, we've seen James White do it, who's, by the way, still on the team, but we've seen guys in years past. So those two I can discount to start with.
And they kept Burkhead.
They gave him more money. They signed him to an extension. So those positions I'm not concerned about. The left tackle one is very interesting to me. There has been one position on the Patriots, other than quarterback, that has had the least overhaul since Tom Brady's been there, and that is left tackle. Going into a season, there have only been two people that have been starting left tackles for the New England Patriots with Tom Brady as the quarterback. Matt Light for a decade, Nate Solder since then. Now, there have been a few other guys step in. Marcus Cannon did it for half a season due to injury. But as far as this is our left tackle, Matt Light to Nate Solder. Obviously, Tom Brady is not the most mobile quarterback in the world, and we have seen Tom Brady go above and beyond to try to avoid contact, especially in this phase of his career. Losing his left tackle, losing the left tackle that the Pats, I don't think they wanted to lose him.
I don't think they even thought they were going to lose him. I didn't think they think the Giants would give him that much money.
Well, they were not. The Giants needed a left tackle, and they paid a premium. The sticker price and then some for Nate Solder. And Bill Belichick has a philosophy, which is no matter how much he likes a player, he sets what he believes that dollar value is, and he's not going to exceed it. So I understand that from a cap management standpoint, but I would expect them to be worse at left tackle next year unless they hit on their first-round pick, which tough position to play as a rookie anyway, especially if you're being drafted at 31. To me, that's the biggest loss, the left tackle, Nate Solder.
And there's not a lot of good tackles in the draft. There's not a can't-miss prospect as far as tackles are concerned. What if we add another name to that list? You said Amendola, Lewis, all those Solder. What if Gronk retires? All right? If Gronk decides to quit, then the Solder moving to the Giants is even bigger than what it is now. The New England Patriots, they're one of the few teams that they almost always don't help their left tackle. Their tight ends, they throw to their tight ends a lot. So when you don't have your tight end next to your tackle, you're putting that guy in space. And they have thrived in this. You mentioned Light, they mentioned Solder. So they've been able to one block or man on the backside. And now because if Gronk leaves, oh, my God, you're talking about their two best, outside of Tom Brady, these are their two best offensive players. Tom Brady's their best, then Gronk, and then the left tackle. Those are the best players that we've seen. And go ahead, Nick.
No, you bringing up the possibility of Gronk leaving is interesting to me because that's something that early on I know you said, listen, guys that good, that skilled, that age, don't walk away from that type of money. But there have been, since we last talked about it, more trickling news reports, more tea leaves from Gronk himself. And it seems like you are more open to the at least possibility that maybe Gronk isn't going to be there next year. That piqued my interest.
Right. It's hard to play this game in talking about quitting, because the amount that you have to commit to what you're doing. We saw one of the greats yesterday decide to retire in Joe Thomas. Listen, people talking about, oh, man, what happened? He got knocked out of the game. He cannot get up and condition himself to be able to do, and his body, he said it, would not allow him to play at a high level. So left tackle, to me, that's the most significant thing with New England, not just because of who it is, but also he's the only one that they drafted. He's the only one that they believed in into a second contract. Now, Bill Belichick, he hadn't done, you can criticize him as far as the draft, but I don't believe that you can replace this type of Patriot intel, the Patriot way, in veteran players. So I believe that Solder, the left tackle, is significant. But those other veteran players and what they know about New England, I believe it's just as significant as Solder, the left tackle.
And yet, meanwhile, they could do all this, which is nothing theoretically. Let all these guys go because, as you said, it is sort of the Patriots' way. And these like Super Bowl, predictions come out, and they're still the favorite to win next year.
Because people make their bets.
They can't be the favorite.
They are right now. They're the Vegas favorite. But
okay, I'm going to teach y'all something about Vegas eventually. All right, like they can't be. There's no way you can look at them on paper and say they're better than several teams in there.
Correct.
You think they're better than Jacksonville?
What? No.
No. This is just what the country thinks. This is just what people.
Well, that's what
think.
I was going to say. Is listen, people make their bets based on three things: quarterback, coach, history. Like, that's why. And
that's why Vegas is thriving.
Right. And so when you say Jacksonville's the perfect team to bring up, because Jacksonville's Super Bowl odds will always be a good value because nobody believes in the quarterback, nobody cares who the coach is, and they have no history. So teams like the Packers' Super Bowl odds are always inflated. Why? Because people like Green Bay's always good and they have Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
Similar with the Patriots. I want to say one thing, though, about a player we have glossed over, in Malcolm Butler. And the reason I think we've glossed over him is after the Super Bowl, everyone knew Malcolm Butler is leaving. That doesn't mean they got a plan to replace him. Since the Patriots drafted Devin McCourty in 2010, they have spent 11 draft picks on defensive backs. None of those have panned out into players. Now, one of them was drafted year before last. I'm not throwing him out yet. Cyrus Jones. We'll see what happens with him. But he's a young player. He has not yet lived up to his second-round pick status, but he's got time. They have spent so many resources in the draft on trying to get the cornerback position right. Yet, who were their starting cornerbacks last year? Stephon Gilmore, who they had to pay a king's ransom for, and Malcolm Butler, who was an undrafted free agent. Right now, Jonathan Batamosi and Eric Rowe are tops on their depth chart behind Stephon Gilmore. Like, that is a position. We saw the Pats with Malcolm Butler give up huge plays all year long. Your stat about plays of 30 yards or more and how they were near the tops of the league and giving that up. We saw them in the Super Bowl without Malcolm Butler.
Right.
Totally unable to stop Nick Foles. So I think that's a big loss, just not as significant as Nate Solder's loss.
We have Eric Mangini coming up, and we're going to talk about what this means for the Patriots and if this changes really the course that they're going to take come next season. We're going to take a break. Coming up, hey, how high is Baker Mayfield's stock after his impressive pro day? That's next on First Things First.
I don't know.